Well, we're here with possibly the most insane news that's broken in quite some time. Headlines! CM Punk is reportedly in talks with AEW to return to wrestling. Big E has revealed who he intends to cash his Money in the Bank briefcase in on. And an AEW star has poked fun at Karrion Kross's Raw loss. Find out who in a bit. So we kick things off with the most insane news out of all of those headlines, which is that CM Punk could be making his return to wrestling, and not just a return to wrestling, he could be coming to an AEW ring, Andrew.
Oh, I think we've been speculating for so long, haven't we? There's been so much speculation about where's he going to go, is he even going to come back?
Is it ever going to happen? Could it potentially happen? Is it never going to...
Now it seems like it might be a thing.
News broke via Fightful Select, who apparently learned last week that CM Punk has been in talks to make a return to wrestling as an in-ring performer, with sources indicating that AEW is the most likely landing point. Now, apparently they have no confirmation of a contract being signed, a timetable, a return date, or anything like that, creative, anything. Only that Punk and a company official have convened and they've had, some ongoing conversations about a potential in-ring return. Now, of course, we don't know that this will be true until that deal is inked and he pops up randomly on a Dynamite. But this is probably the closest news we've gotten for quite some time to a CM Punk return, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, it's just exciting. Obviously, now with crowds coming back and stuff as well, just imagine a CM Punk return, a pop. Like, that would be a huge get for AEW
Could you imagine if the rumors are true about Bryan and they would have Punk and Bryan? Like, that would... What did WWE even do at that point? But apparently Fightful hasn't confirmed this with Punk himself or AEW as an entity. But apparently higher ups in WWE Fightful have heard that they seem to think he is AEW bound. Now, of course, he's not wrestled since 2014. He went through UFC. He's been in and around, the wrestling industry in terms of WWE backstage. There was reports that he made like a run-in under a mask at a venue that was important to him before it closed. But yeah, this is like, people talk all the time about what would it take to really sway the balance of this new ongoing wrestling war, and somebody like Punk signing across to the rival and then Bryan potentially to follow. As I said, what have WWE got to kind of fire back with? They're going to have to bring through a whole new class of talent and really focus on the younger generation and try and push it forward.
I absolutely agree, and the thing is now as well, with WWE releasing so many amazing talents as well, and now you've got Malachi Black and stuff on AEW. It's a huge deal. If they get Punk, then they really are a formidable force then for WWE.
I mean, he's not old. He can still, I'd imagine, go. He's always been in good shape, hasn't he? Like, it seems like this would be a no-brainer if they can get it to happen. So I guess as and when we hear any more, if we indeed hear any more, because you've got to imagine that a signing like this is 110% a surprise waiting to happen, and I'll probably end up eating a hat again, but we will keep you updated. So next up, following on from his monumental win at Money in the Bank, Big E has disclosed who he intends to cash his briefcase in on, and it's not exactly a surprise, I'd say.
No, but then at the same time, it kind of feels like it is a bit of a surprise, because I thought they would have gone a different direction. But Big E has been speaking with DAZN News, and he
Apparently
says...
it's DAZN.
Oh, is it
Somebody
DAZN?
told me that. I was like, what, how do you get DAZN from I just call them DAZN. So you call yourself DAZN, then,
Yeah. Just children.
Anyway,
children now, right. So this is what Big E said. He says, I feel Roman's the guy though. Roman's the guy in the industry, and if you want to be remembered, if you want to do something cool, something special, that's a great way to do it. Roman's on a tear. This is one of the best runs I can remember. I feel like he's definitely hitting his stride in a way that he hasn't before. You can look at the entire scope of the rest of the industry, and you can determine who you think is number one guy, who you think is the best, who should be at the very top. I think it's not that difficult to make an argument for Roman being number one across all brands, across all boards. Beating him means that whoever beats him for that title, it's going to be memorable, it's going to mean something, and why not me?
This is it. Like, I would love nothing more than to see Big E with that title, but is Roman the right choice?
That's the at the moment.
Because it feels like they're just going to leave that belt on Roman for years.
Yeah, as much as Big E has so much momentum behind him at the moment, right now I don't see Big E getting the belt from Roman.
Yeah.
I feel like what I personally thought might have happened was we see Big E go on over to challenge like Bobby Lashley or something on Raw.
It would make more sense.
Yeah, definitely.
You kind of got the interconnected story there with his teammate. It would, yeah. But, you know, we're going to get swerved like this, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's the whole idea is that it's one big year-long swerve. Just kind of busted out every now and again and teased and fought over even. We don't even know if that's going to happen this time. We could have people gunning for the briefcase. Just like Miz did with Otis.
Yay!
That ended well.
Don't do that again.
We move on now to talk about Karrion Kross and his recent Raw loss, which was shocking for a multitude of reasons, but mainly front and centre that he's an undefeated beast in NXT and he's rocked up on the main roster and he's been thoroughly trounced by Jeff Hardy in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Which, no shame in losing to Jeff Hardy. He's
No,
Jeff Hardy.
no,
He's Jeff Hardy.
And it was a sneaky one as well. He got his foot on the ropes.
But at the same time, Jeff's hardly been booked as strong as he maybe should be getting booked, and it feels very much like the word, I don't really like using the word, but it feels like the word squash. It kind of felt a bit like that. I talked about it this morning, I think, on the news, where I was a bit like, oh, I don't like that word. But, you know, Matt Hardy, Jeff's brother, currently in AEW, took to Twitter, wondering why Jeff wasn't the new champion. He tweeted out, why does Kross still have the title? I thought my brother won it. Now, of course, it was a non-title bout, and of course, it's an NXT belt, and everything we're seeing so far about what's happening with the NXT talents on the main roster suggests that maybe NXT now doesn't really count.
Yeah.
Which is worrying.
It is really worrying.
Really, really worrying. Yeah, I mean, Kross was on NXT last night in a segment with Samoa Joe, and he took out William Regal to close the show, so he's still being booked favourably there.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe we're going to have to wait and see how it develops with Kross. But, yeah, Matt Hardy just poking a little bit of fun there.
Little
just
jab,
a little bit of a jab.
jabs.
Just a bit of a funny.
But Jeff Hardy for NXT champion, though.
Honestly, could you imagine Jeff in NXT?
I mean, it's a
not like permanently, but maybe for like a few months. If you just sent Jeff down to NXT to like work with a multitude of people,
I think he'd thrive in a place like that. I think he'd just do. I know he's trying not to do mad stuff these days. But
but he could work with a younger person who would do mad stuff, but madder than him, and then he could get kind of like Sting at AEW.
That's a really good idea.
Still hit the dive and still.
Yes.
It's kind of like Jeff could work safer with some more crazy talent.
Yeah, I like it.
I want to see that WWE. Please, that's hopefully where this is heading. That's what I'm going to believe from now on. Kross only lost to take Jeff to NXT. That's what's happening.
Sam said it.